Title: Discourse on Method and Meditations on First Philosophy. Author: René Descartes. Intro sentence. Discourse on Method and Meditations on First Philosophy. By Descartes delves into the philosophical journey of René Descartes as he seeks to establish a foundation for knowledge based on reason and doubt, shaping the course of modern philosophy. The big idea. Descartes sets out to doubt everything he has been taught and believed in order to find indubitable truths upon which to build a new system of knowledge. Through his methodical doubt and introspection, he arrives at the famous maxim cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, which serves as the foundation for his epistemology. By examining the nature of reality, the existence of God, and the relationship between mind and body, Descartes lays the groundwork for modern philosophical thought. Extended course summary. In Discourse on Method and Meditations on First Philosophy, René Descartes lays the foundation for modern philosophy through systematic doubt and the quest for certainty. The Discourse on Method, published in 1637, begins with Descartes' reflections on the inadequacies of knowledge derived from sensory experience and the reliance on established authority. He advocates for a methodical approach to knowledge, famously encapsulated in his principle, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. This assertion stems from Descartes' radical skepticism, where he doubts everything that can possibly be doubted until he arrives at the undeniable truth of his own existence as a thinking being. He proposes a methodological skepticism that seeks to establish a firm foundation for scientific knowledge. In Meditations on First Philosophy, Descartes continues his exploration of doubt and certainty. He embarks on a meditative journey where he systematically dismantles his prior beliefs, seeking to establish a new basis for knowledge that is free from doubt. The meditations are divided into 6 parts, where Descartes examines the nature of existence, the essence of the mind, and the existence of God. He argues that the mind is distinct from the body, a dualistic perspective that has influenced centuries of philosophical thought. The 5th meditation introduces the concept of God as a perfect being, whose existence guarantees the reliability of clear and distinct perceptions. Ultimately, Descartes posits that true knowledge must arise from the interplay of reason and faith, allowing for the reconciliation of scientific inquiry with theological beliefs. Throughout these works, Descartes engages with various philosophical challenges, including the problem of evil and the nature of reality. He grapples with the implications of his radical doubt, considering how one can attain knowledge amidst pervasive skepticism. His emphasis on rationalism, where reason is the primary source of knowledge, contrasts with empiricist views that prioritize sensory experience. The discourse also reflects on the practical applications of his method, advocating for a systematic approach to personal and scientific inquiry. Descartes' meditative process emphasizes introspection and self-examination, encouraging readers to question their own beliefs and assumptions. In both texts, Descartes' influence on the development of modern philosophy is profound, marking a shift towards individualized reasoning and the scientific method. His work laid the groundwork for subsequent philosophers, establishing a dialogue between faith and reason that continues to resonate today. Through his methodical approach, Descartes not only seeks to understand the self and the divine, but also paves the way for rational inquiry that challenges established norms and beliefs. His legacy endures in contemporary discussions about the nature of knowledge, existence, and the relationship between mind and body. Full detailed summary. In Discourse on Method, René Descartes outlines his philosophical approach, which emphasizes the importance of doubt and systematic inquiry. He begins by critiquing the reliance on tradition and sensory experience, arguing that many accepted truths are actually uncertain. This leads him to his famous conclusion, cogito ergo sum, where he establishes that the very act of thinking is proof of his own existence. This foundational insight is pivotal as it shifts the basis of knowledge from external sources to the internal self. The Meditations on First Philosophy further develop Descartes' ideas through a series of reflective essays. In the first meditation, he engages in radical skepticism, doubting all he can until he reaches an indubitable truth. He explores the nature of the self, asserting that the mind is distinct from the body, a concept that pushes the boundaries of dualism and has significant implications for future philosophical discourse. Throughout the Meditations, Descartes addresses the existence of God, presenting arguments that aim to prove his reality as a necessary being. In the fifth meditation, he introduces the idea that perfection must exist, as it is a trait that can be conceived, thus affirming God's existence in the reliability of clear and distinct perceptions. This theological grounding is crucial for Descartes, as it allows him to assert the certainty of knowledge derived from reason. The discussion of the problem of evil emerges as Descartes reconciles his belief in a benevolent God with the existence of suffering in the world. He argues that free will plays a role in human error, and that understanding the nature of God helps to navigate the complexities of moral and existential dilemmas. This intertwining of philosophy and theology illustrates the depth of Descartes' inquiry. The final meditations reflect Descartes' quest for a unified understanding of knowledge, bridging the gap between faith and reason. He emphasizes the role of rational thought in achieving certainty and understanding the world, laying the groundwork for modern scientific inquiry. His method of doubt serves not only as a philosophical tool, but also as a framework for personal growth and intellectual development. Overall, Descartes' contributions in these texts mark a significant transition in philosophical thought, promoting the idea that reason and introspection are essential to discovering truth in a world rife with uncertainty. His legacy continues to influence modern philosophy, science, and the broader discourse on the nature of existence. Setting and context. René Descartes wrote during the early 17th century, a time marked by significant scientific and philosophical upheaval in Europe. The scientific revolution was in full swing, challenging traditional Aristotelian views of the universe and fostering new approaches to understanding nature through observation and mathematics. The Protestant Reformation had also initiated profound shifts in religious thought, emphasizing individual interpretation of faith. Descartes, a product of this dynamic environment, sought to establish a new foundation for knowledge that could withstand the uncertainties of his time, aiming to reconcile the emerging scientific perspective with philosophical inquiry. Character sketches. René Descartes serves as the protagonist, driven by a quest for certainty and truth in a rapidly changing intellectual landscape. His core motivation is to find a reliable foundation for knowledge that transcends the limitations of previous philosophical traditions. The antagonist in this narrative is the skepticism that pervades both philosophical and theological domains, embodied by the challenge of doubt and the potential for deception in perceptions. This conflict shapes Descartes' philosophical journey as he strives to overcome doubt and establish a clear distinction between the mind and body. Data and evidence snapshot. Key figures: René Descartes, 1596 to 1650. Landmark studies introduced Cartesian doubt and methodological skepticism. Illustrative anecdote: Descartes' realization of cogito ergo sum during his meditations. Methodological notes: emphasizes rationalism over empiricism, advocating for a systematic approach to knowledge. Expert quotes: the use of reason is the foundation of all knowledge. Data points: establishes clear and distinct perceptions as reliable sources of knowledge. Critical perspectives. One major critique of Descartes' work is his reliance on rationalism, which some argue overlooks the significance of empirical evidence in understanding reality. Critics contend that his method of doubt, while intellectually stimulating, may lead to a nihilistic perspective that undermines the value of lived experience. Additionally, his dualism has faced scrutiny for failing to adequately explain the interaction between mind and body. Critical reception and controversies. Descartes' works were met with both admiration and skepticism. Many praised his methodical approach and emphasis on reason as a path to knowledge, solidifying his status as a foundational figure in modern philosophy. However, critics raised concerns about his dualistic framework and the implications of his skepticism, sparking debates that persist in contemporary philosophical discourse. The tension between rationalism and empiricism continues to influence discussions around epistemology and metaphysics. Real-world applications. Personal reflection. Exercise, implement a method of doubt in everyday decision-making by questioning assumptions and beliefs to build a stronger foundation for choices. Philosophical journal. Maintain a journal that documents thoughts and reflections, emphasizing the importance of reasoning and introspection in personal growth. Group discussions. Facilitate discussions that explore the relationship between faith and reason, encouraging participants to articulate their views and challenge established norms. Discussion and debate questions. How can Descartes' method of doubt be applied in contemporary ethical dilemmas? In what ways does Descartes' dualism challenge or support modern scientific understandings of consciousness? Can the pursuit of certainty through reason coexist with the acceptance of uncertainty in human experience? What implications does Descartes' work have for the relationship between science and religion today? How does the concept of cogito ergo sum influence contemporary discussions about identity and existence? Key takeaways. The importance of skepticism and doubt in philosophical inquiry. The foundational role of reason in establishing knowledge. The concept of cogito ergo sum as a starting point for philosophical reflection. The mind-body dualism and the distinction between the two substances. Descartes' argument for the existence of a benevolent God as the guarantor of truth. Apply this now. Reflect on your beliefs and question them to see if they are based on solid foundations. Practice using reason and logic to analyze situations and make decisions. Cultivate a habit of introspection and self-examination to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world around you. Quotes to remember. I think, therefore I am. Divide each difficulty into as many parts as is feasible and necessary to resolve it. The reading of all good books is like a conversation with the finest minds of past centuries. Pair with Critique of Pure Reason by Immanuel Kant, Being and Time by Martin Heidegger, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. About the author. René Descartes, 1596 to 1650, was a French philosopher, mathematician, and scientist known as the father of modern philosophy. Apart from Discourse on Method and Meditations on First Philosophy, Descartes also wrote Principles of Philosophy and Geometry. His works had a profound influence on Western philosophy and laid the foundation for rationalism and the scientific method.